You know, when I was at rock bottom, I didn't know that I was at rock bottom. And you can't really change what you're not aware of. And so it was like one of those things where it's like, can it get any worse? Bam! Can it get any worse? Bam! And I kept asking the question, can it get any worse? I didn't know that what I was asking was causing my life. So it was to the point where either I die or I do something about it, because it was like, I didn't have, my daughter pretty much was like, you're not my father. You don't know what love is. My girlfriend had just broke up with me. And, you know, my mother was pretty much, she had 16 different, she was on 16 different medications. There was so much stuff going on, and I'm watching all of these people be successful. And I'm like, I'm more talented than them. And I don't understand why I'm still in the exact same spot, which I didn't know was rock bottom. And then one day it just all came crashing down, and I was like, why am I here? I remember lying down in the middle of the road, and I'm like, oh, right now. And I stayed there. Cars were driving by, honking and everything. And I don't know what happened in between that, but literally my car had just got out of the impound. My mom had paid for it. She didn't have much money, but somehow she would always do something for her baby boy. And she got my car out of the impound. The day I got my car out of the impound, that's when somebody had broke into my car. And it was like, can it get any worse? And that night on La Brea, on the corner of La Brea and Hollywood, I'm at, there's like this little shopping center, and my car was parked, my window was busted out to the right, and literally it was raining. It was 3:43 in the morning, August 2011. And it was, I yelled out, eyes bloodshot red, and I still didn't know that this was rock bottom, but I've always focused on what I don't want. And I just remember saying, okay, I'm tired of fighting. I don't want to fight anymore. I want to be healthy. I want to be happy. I want to be surrounded by nothing but positive people. I just want to inspire people, and I want to make a bunch of money, but I want the money to represent something that I passionately believe in. Just show me a sign. Show me a sign. Show me. And I just kept saying it over and over and over. It wasn't until a week later until I met the man at the gas station, and he asked me for money. And he said, do you have any money? He's just like, it was a homeless guy. And I'm like, and he had a wad of money. I said, you have more money than me. And he goes, have you ever seen the movie Rain Man? The guy was talking to himself. Person did the exact same thing. He was like, change your mindset, change your life. Change your mindset, change your life. Change your mindset, change your life. Change your mindset. And then they walked away. And it was in that very moment, I felt like my whole entire life was a lie.
And once you had that realization and you knew, okay, I need to change my mindset, what was that first step?
Honestly, so the very first opposite thing that I did was the stairs. Normally I take the escalators because I'm lazy. I don't feel like doing it. You know what I'm saying? And then all of a sudden it was like I had this little angel on my shoulder saying, change your life. Be transformed by the renewing of your mind. So when I came to the escalators, I'd be like, change your mindset, change your life. And then I would just do the opposite. Normally I would use gel soap. Change your mindset, change your life. So I used bar soap. And then, so I didn't know what neural pathways, I didn't know what any of that stuff. I was literally like a baby that knows how to express himself only through gaga goo goo. So I had all these crazy results to my life that people were like, how did you do it? I'm like, But it wasn't until I started reading books and going to seminars so I could connect the dots going backwards. But I started with just daily things, just doing the opposite of everything I would normally do. I was just opposite. But that became my new pattern. So it was easy to make different decisions with the same circumstances when I had already built the muscle of doing the opposite. And that's how I even got into this entire philosophy. I stopped making a left. So I ending up in places where people who make a left end. And I turned to right. Whole different direction, whole different outcome, met new people, different opportunities, everything. Because it was an entire world I knew nothing about.
So as you're beginning to learn about neural pathways, I'm going to ask this question in two different ways. As you begin learning about neural pathways, what are the neurological or the belief system things that you're beginning to change? And saying this is the exact same question, but asked in a different way. What do you want to teach those kids that you can connect with that started where you started? I know you have the Youth Foundation volunteers.
Absolutely.
Like what is that like belief system mantra? I'm guessing is a lot more pointed than just change your mindset, change your life.
Absolutely. One, it's awareness. I had no idea that this world existed outside of projects, outside of, some of my friends with food stamps, outside of, we can't afford it. We can't afford it. We can't afford it. Now, if you think about ABCs, the impact of ABCs, language. First, there's gaga goo goo. Then there's language. Then there's the baby can now say ball. Now there's sentences, paragraphs, essays, books, libraries. The impact of someone growing up in a struggled household where there's fear-based, insecurity-based, all of that, that's a form of language. Most people don't know the language outside of that because they stay inside, watch the same TV shows, listen to the same radio station, hang around the same friends, never read books, and just follow wherever society says, do this is popular. Do this is popular. But never really think for themselves.
So going back to that language, which is really fascinating, I've never heard it explained like that, and I like that a lot. We can't afford this, we can't afford this, we can't afford this, becomes a language of communication, becomes the language of your belief system. So what is the new language that you want to give people? You're really good at repeating things, which I think is incredibly powerful, and at the end of the day, I think, quite honestly, you are what you repeat obsessively in your head. What are some empowering things that you would want those kids to be repeating to themselves?
Who they are. Because if you don't tell yourself who you are, then you'll allow anybody else to tell you who you are.
And how do you help them find an empowering narrative to feed themselves?
Through animation, cartoons, like there's so many different avenues. But again, they've got to be able to relate to it. It can't just be like, oh, we're just going to give these people what I think they need. Now, every single child has a desire inside of them, and and it irks me so much because people always speak to the needs of people. Oh, you need this, or you should this, or you should that. And what I want to say is, there is something inside of every child, and there's a desire to do something, but it gets lost because you should do this, you should go to school and do this, you should get a good job, you should do this. And all of a sudden, they'll go to whatever has energy. Wherever the energy goes, that's where the energy flows. And what I would really want them to know is to tell themselves who they are. Like, I am powerful. I am amazing. And these are things that I'm literally working with lots of parents now, and they're like, within a week, he wasn't getting bullied no more. She wasn't saying that she's ugly anymore because she stopped listening to the outside noise and she started listening to what she told herself she was.
I love your analogy of kids getting their superpowers, or an adult for that matter, getting their superpowers. And you said that every superhero has to pay a price to get their powers.
Yeah.
Talk to me about that.
Superman had to pay a price, Batman. But I didn't realize this until like a few years ago. So my whole entire life, I wanted to be a superhero. I wanted to be stronger than the average man, have abs like an action figure, and save people's lives all over the world. I maintained that all the way through high school. When people started giving up and started like, oh, I'm going to go do what my dad is doing. I'm going to go do what my mom is doing. When it was time to graduate and all the stuff that you do to graduate, they're like, so what are you going to be when you get in the real world? Tell me you still don't want to be a superhero. And I'm like, I want to be stronger than the average man. I want to have abs like an action figure, and I want to save people's lives all over the world. And I was so serious. When I left that, that's when I was stuck. That's when I was lost. When I left everything that I loved to do as a child, that's when I said I felt like something is missing the most.
Thank you for listening to Motivation Hack. If you'd like to listen to more videos like this in the future, press the subscribe button and turn on your post notifications.